She was on the other foot now.
I'm Uncle Charles's niece, Laura Jane, and my dad was Warren Jackson Foote. And I have my mother, Janice Foote, came with me today. And I too remember lots of Jackson cousins. That was another generation, but I have a lot of fond memories of those times too. And kind of hope that the same thing would happen with my children, but that kind of hasn't been, they missed that connection. So that's unfortunate. And I don't know who's, I think some of the Carolyn, Emma Lois. Yeah, use it over in the corner. These are some of the cousins I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Dewey Jackson was my father, and I had three brothers, Gerald, Robert, and Benny, and I have one sister with me today, Carolyn. And I grew up in a time when we had the large family meetings at my grandparents, and I can still remember some of those. I think Carolyn will confess that she wasn't so fortunate. And I don't. I grew up on the farm. Was fortunate with that. And I've just got through with the vacation trip with Carolyn and Dave, which I enjoyed. So we're carrying on with that, and it is.
She better have said that. We will take her down.
So anyway, Carolyn's standing up here, and I'm going to turn this over to her.
Well, there's not a whole lot other than on our trip we did go. We went to our grandson's high school graduation. So we have two children. One of them lives now, they're back in Nebraska now. They had graduation on the 8th. We were all there until the 13th, and the movers came on the 15th. So they're back in Nebraska, and then when we leave here, we're headed to San Antonio for our other sons. So we have 5 grandchildren, and so we keep busy. When they were in Pennsylvania, we were back and forth there, and then to Texas back and forth. So we kind of stop in between here. But I'm a retired teacher, and David is back there, and he was our driver around everywhere and told us where we were going, what we were going to do. He says, I told him he didn't know where he was going until I told him where he was going. So, and I am the youngest cousin on this level. So I did miss out on a lot of the cousin things, although I helped Lucille out. Went and stayed with them which one of the girls? Jeanette was born, and stayed with them because she needed somebody to work. I don't know what I did. I probably didn't do much of anything, but I was there to help her in those days. They weren't up and running as soon as everything was over. But my grandmother died when I was born, so I didn't meet any of the grandparents on that level. And then my dad died when I was 13, so I kind of missed out on a lot of that. So I had Leota was the closest cousin on to me with that, and then I don't know why, but Dewey didn't have a middle name. He was Dewey, and that was it. So when you write down, they go, what's his name? He didn't have a middle name, like, didn't hear that. So next summer, we're going to, the Dewey Jackson family are going to meet in Estes Park for a week, July the 9th, I think it is. So if anybody is in Estes Park next summer, come stay with us. So we had, that. And then Bob's family, most of them are living in, Maurice is in Silver Spring, Maryland. And that was one of our places that we went. We were there and did DC again. Gerald's wife Beverly still lives in Warrensburg. And Benny's wife lives in Lawrence, and his two daughters live in Lawrence, Kansas. So I think that accounts for all of our for next summer in Estes Park. Who's left?
Is that where you live?
We live in Parsons, Kansas.
Oh,
We still got it here from this lady sitting over here, but
From Norma Jean?
Charles has already given our family.
You've had that, so.
I think it was kind
Who
of,
haven't we
it was
had?
kind of one-sided though, from his perspective.
Come on, Norma. Because she's coming next summer.
I am. You'll get to.
And Charles never talks. I wouldn't believe it if she hadn't got it.
When's lunch?
Yeah. Saved by the bell, saved by the bell.
Okay, better set your little clock.
Okay.
My name is Norma Jean.
Oh, nice.
All my friends know me as Jean, and so it's like me and Larry. We use different names sometimes, anyways. Let's see. I have 4 children and 8 grandchildren, and I've always been proud of our family. It's very, I don't know, it gives you a solid background when you look back at your ancestors and you realize what kind of a foundation they've given you. And it's something to really appreciate, and I do that very much. I live in Fort Collins. I've been there 3 years. The youngest grandson is 14 and counting the hours till he gets his driver's license, I think. He's already alerted the car dealer to keep an eye out for a good pickup. And he's quite a sportsman, so I spend a lot of time going to his baseball games, and it's a lot of fun to see him grow up. He's a character. So if any of you are in Fort Collins, Colorado, or any neighborhood, come see me.
Tell us the story about the polar bear chasing your mom across the iceberg.
The what?
A polar bear chased your mom when you lived in Alaska.
No, we were on a fishing trip. There was, I think, like 7 of us. And you parked down on the highway and then you hiked up about 2 miles to, there was an old retired Navy captain that had a lodge up there, and he was a character. He only went into town, they flew in supplies to him, and he ran this lodge. And anytime he went into Anchorage, he got drunk and got put in jail, so he didn't go into town too long. But we were walking single file because it was just a little path, and we rounded this, and Mom was with me, and another lady who was a friend of another person, neighbor of ours, and we were walking single file, and rounded this corner, and here was standing up was this bear picking little berries or whatever off this tree, and I went, everybody froze. Because they had warned us about a mama bear that had 2 little cubs. And they said, boy, if you see her, big trouble. So we just stood there, and I stood there and stared at this bear. And it finally went, and went off down the hill. But the bad part was, we knew we had to go back. But we never saw it again. It was a heart-rending experience.
Gene,
Yeah.
could you just relate to the group, the positive influence you've had on my life?
Oh, no.
I wouldn't touch that.
But you got
No
over
way.
it. You got over
Do
it.
you want me to tell it?
No, don't give away up there. Go to anybody else.
The chili group. That's it, guys.
All you have to do, Gene, is say, I don't remember.
He's got a vivid imagination.
Yeah. I've heard both sides of this story.
Another two daughters, why don't you come up here and give young Chris's perspective?
Yeah, let's do it, Elizabeth. I'm not used to this air conditioning. I really am cold. I'm not trying to look cool or anything.
We do kind of look cool.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
It's not a fashion statement.
No. Just keeping it warm. Hi, you're so cute. Okay, so was I gonna know you go first? Because what I told you to say is a better story than mine.
Okay. Well, I guess my sister told me to tell us two stories, which is we're at the end of the Jackson name, which makes us both really sad. Because we are traditional, so we'll probably take our husband's last name. But I decided that I was going to name my firstborn son Jackson, which I think is so cute. But she wanted
And then I said, oh, that's such a, I love that name for a kid. And she said, don't you dare take that, that's my idea.
And you live in your parents' home, and you refurbish it, and, okay, that's what I thought. Remember that story. But you're done refurbishing.
There should have been a hedgerow where I grew up too.
decided for financial agency. But great. So I'm not right now. I wasn't into this, but now I am.
Shift, steer, and try not to miss it. Play by ear.
Sounds like my college is
Where did you go?
but now called Missouri State, West South Missouri State. Just wait till
Oh yeah. What did you do?
business administration. I did computer stuff.
And then you went to Columbia College.
I went to Plum College first.
Oh, that's right.
Then I went to,
Okay.
then I went to Florida for a year, and I got at the beach.
Where in Florida?
Fort Myers, Southern Florida on the Gulf side.
You're a beach bum, really.
Not from Sarasota.
I think Sarasota's up by. Yeah. Probably.